Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Jeff Graber with Callagy Law's Florida office. It is Wednesday, March 25th. Last week, we shot a video where my colleague, Mike Smikin, who I'll introduce in a minute, was interviewing me on the ins and outs of business interruption coverage and whether or not folks might find that coverage available under their business insurance policies. Again, it's a tough coverage find, but we encourage you to run your policies by us and see if we can make something out of it. But last week we had mentioned that while insurance exploration would be plan A, in our view, take a look at what your business already has in place to protect you before resorting to other measures. If need be, there's other plans. There's plan B, there's plan C. Plan B, as we see it, would be your business potentially looking into lending resources that are out there by way of the government, whether that's federal or state. I don't know. That's what we're going to be discussing in a minute. And then in a different video, we're going to do plan C, which is, God forbid, you need to get to the point of laying off employees, what to do, how to navigate that process. Today with us to discuss Plan B, potential lending to keep your business afloat, so to speak, is my partner, Michael Smikin, out of our Paramus, New Jersey office. Say hello, Mike.
Hey, folks. How's it going? Michael Smikin here from Callagy Law. So thank you, Jeff, for having me. I appreciate it. And I'm here to answer any questions that our business owners would have. And I will tell you this. I know you've been inundated with calls, but I've been inundated as well with a lot of folks who are pretty frustrated by the fact that they paid a lot of money to maintain business interruption coverage. And now insurance companies are telling them pretty much just from go, saying, yep, there's no coverage here. There's nothing for you. And ignoring the fact that certain of these policies do provide coverage. And there's also new legislation that is currently being explored both by the state of New Jersey and now by Congress to change that. So I've been inundated as well.
Yeah, no doubt that those calls are coming into Callagy Law, and we encourage you folks to do that. Continue to do that. Again, it's a tough coverage find. Depends who wrote your insurance product, but it does not hurt for us to have a look at it. The intake analysis is a courtesy. And as Mike said, it's really kind of an evolving situation because some states like New Jersey are looking at legislation to take like virus exclusions out of your policies. So it would behoove you to get in touch with us and stay in touch with us. Also with us is our colleague Brian Williamson out of our Phoenix, Arizona office. Brian was on last week's video as well. Brian, if you could say hello and what's on your mind.
Hey guys, I'm so glad to be here. I think this is a really important discussion, and I've been having conversations and discussions with people too about how this is going to be impacting their business and what things to look at. Some of the pitfalls that they might be facing as they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I manage employees who I still have to pay even though business might be down? What's happening with the Department of Labor, and are they going to be enforcing regulations? Are they going to be easing regulations? What kind of stuff is happening? How are the pending legislations going to affect this? And so I'm excited to talk about that a little bit today and give some clarity on this in a very murky area, because there's a lot that's in flux and there's more that's going to be changing, but I'm going to provide a little bit of clarity of what's happening right now and where things are starting to head so we can get an idea of where we're going.
Yeah, and folks, Brian's really been keeping his finger on the pulse of ongoing legislative efforts on the state level and the federal level. So he's really in tune with that, as well as everything else, all the other struggles that business owners and employees and individuals are facing during the COVID-19 struggles. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. Mike, as it pertains to, and we'll start with Mike. Brian, please chime in at any point. Mike, as it pertains to the Plan B that some folks might need to look into, lending, governmental resources out there, the new stimulus package that I believe was recently announced, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Why don't you just run away with it for a little bit, Mike, a bit of a narrative here on what you're finding and how folks can navigate these times under the Plan B model that we speak of?
Yeah, sure. So I think you hit the nail on the head just now, Jeff. The new stimulus package, which is referred to by the government as phase 3, because there's been 2 other stimulus packages which were approved previously. The most recent one, I think, was the March 18th Family First Act, which extended paid leave and things of that nature, which goes into effect, I think, on April 2nd. The phase 3 that just went into effect actually is designed to stimulate the economy by putting money that most of the business owners we're talking about are referring to and what they're having to deal with. So, that's the public access to liquidity. On the private side, I did an interview last week with James Yin, who is tremendous in the space of SBA loans, disaster relief, cash collateral loans, and things of that nature. And he talked a lot about it. We'll piece that video attached to this link as well. But one of the sources of funding, besides the government, which is public access, the private access is you have these cash collateral deals, which is if you have cash flow, sufficient cash flow, or you have sufficient collateral like real property, things of that nature, you can actually post that property in exchange for cash infusion into the business. And, it's a funding source outside of your traditional banks. Depending on the type of business, the amount of collateral that you have, you can get cash collateral loans for 5%, 7%, and for periods as short as 6 months. So you're like, oh my God, as soon as I open up my doors, I'll have revenue coming back in. I don't really need a 30 years of liquidity to get back to where I can function and pay this thing off. So, the cash collateral is one mechanism that gives business owners access to money today. We're talking about SBA loans, and I think the new stimulus package is really going to address that. And what's interesting, and this gets to Plan C, is that there is a string attached to the public funds that you're going to see in the stimulus package. So there's going to be $350 billion that's going to be accessible to small businesses, and that's going to be in the form of a loan. However, there's this interesting incentive called loan forgiveness, which means if you retain your employees, and it's unclear right now whether that's all your employees until June 30th or some percentage of your employees through June 30th, there's going to be some form of forgiveness. So really, it actually functions, although it's called a loan, it functions a lot like a grant. And as long as you meet the conditions of the grant, it's just your money to stimulate your business and to make sure you have your liquidity needs. So you have your cash collateral, you have your public access to funds. There's also SBA loans. And, in the interview with James Yin, I think he did a tremendous job. I'm not going to try to repeat the things that he spoke about. And I want you guys to access that video because James was tremendous in giving information. He talked about how to set up your portfolio so that when you do go to the SBA loan officer, you do go to get your loan, what you could do to best situate yourself. So again, you have your cash collateral, your SBA loans. There's disaster relief, right? Every one of your states and federal is going to have some form of disaster relief available to you. And if you go to your particular state and type in grant disaster relief, you're going to see that a lot of these states are posting information about how to address this disaster relief, how to get access to funds. Potentially, some of them are going to be in the form of very low interest loans, repayable over a period of 5 years. Some of them are even grants where they just give you money and they really want to stimulate your business, especially if your business is in one of these essential areas that's really suffering. So besides that, if you start venturing out into the, hey, I can't access SBA loans, I'm a little too big, that's not my need. You start accessing what's referred to as the softer side of hard money lending, right? These are not guys that are going to come to your house and break your kneecaps if you pay them back. They hold on to their loans themselves. And I did this wonderful interview with a gentleman by the name of Tabor with Inca Capital, and we'll paste that video as well. But Tabor talked about what it takes to get access to that funding source to make sure that you have liquidity. All of this, right? And I apologize, I'm going a little long here, Jeff. All of this is designed to give business owners a solution to meet their short-term liquidity needs, because you have very, very vibrant businesses. When their doors were open, they were generating lots of cash flow. But as businesses are shutting down, as governmental orders are coming out requiring people to quarantine, they don't have access to revenue. Revenue doesn't give them access to the kind of cash they need to meet their obligations, including their payroll obligations, which we'll talk about in Plan C, and how to meet those payroll obligations. So there's a lot of things that the government's been doing to delay some of the costs of running a business, like delaying taxes and things of that nature. But still, you have needs. You have to be able to maintain your employees. And if you're going to get access to some of these public funds that come from the stimulus package, you got to be mindful that you're not terminating your employees, at least until we get some more guidance as to what all that means.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you taking my invitation for a narrative seriously. No, but that's good, folks. Mike hit on most of the points there, I think, for sure. As for the how to effectuate all of what Mike's talking about, again, Mike said he's previously shot some videos over the last week on these topics, and we're going to append them to this video as well. But look, again, I can't say this enough. Our intake analysis is a courtesy. If after watching this video, if after watching Mike's other videos that we're going to attach to this video, you still have questions as to how to get through all this, how to actually put all of this financial resources assistance into play, pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Mike in New Jersey, Brian in Arizona, me in Florida, we're here to help you. While we all have our own little specialties, I would be more of an insurance guy. I would be. I admit it. It's most of what I've done over 14 years. We've got this vast network within Callagy Law to tap into for you and get you answers quickly. We even have an entire department devoted to innovation. And this is what this is, folks. We're innovating. You innovate during tough times. As the Marines would say, you adapt and you overcome. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to help you with. We will overcome. Contact us. Now, Brian, I think Mike hit on most of the points and perhaps stole some thunder. But anything else to add, Brian, before we cut this video and we start in on our Plan C video, where I know that you'll play more of a role in that video. But anything else to add as to the Plan B topic that we've addressed today?
Yeah, I just want to kind of take off from where Mike was talking about retaining your employees and why that's important. Just as that is important, it's also really important that you're making sure that you are in fact paying your employees and paying them on time. Because even though we're seeing a lot of flux with how the government is enforcing regulations and which ones they're suspending and which ones they're going to hold people's feet to the fire on, there are still regulations that the Department of Labor is charged with enforcing on timely paying your employees. And it's important to recognize that even if you're looking and say, okay, well, maybe if I delay paying my employees, 2 or 3 days, that might save me money. I want to caution against that because it really won't save you money. It actually exposes yourself to risk, and it could destroy your business. Just to give you an idea, let's say you have an employee that you're going to pay $2,000 for a paycheck. You delay that even by a day, and now under the law, that employee is entitled to that $2,000 plus an additional $2,000 in liquid damages. And if the feds come after you and charge you with this because it is a criminal action not to pay your employees and you're convicted, that's a $10,000 fine. So if you start doing this, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars in costs to you. And if you repeatedly do it, potentially jail time. So really, when you're looking at trying to save your business, you have to make sure that you are focusing on paying your employees, getting these sources of funding to give you cash inflow to keep yourself afloat, and pay attention to what's happening because there are relief mechanisms coming that have been passed by Congress. We're seeing more rumblings from the agencies about changes they're going to be making. A lot of it's still in discussion and early phases, and we're going to keep you updated on that. But make sure you're trying to keep business as usual as much as possible, because that is going to be your best way forward to survive the current uncertainty. So we're going to talk more about that coming up, but just want to make sure I remind you, try to keep things as normal as possible. Keep fulfilling your obligations. Help is on the way. And if you have questions, we are here to provide those answers as best we can.
Well, I'm glad I teed it up. That was excellent input. Excellent share, Brian. I appreciate it. Mike, any final before we bid our audience adieu on this topic for now?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that I can deliver is that this is a time of great uncertainty, and you're not alone, right? There's a lot of business owners out there that have the same types of challenges that you are, or thinking the same things that you are, have the same types of concerns that you have, and so you don't need to go this alone. There's a lot of solutions that are available to you. If you want, well, we can provide information and give you the answers that you're looking for. Or there's plenty of folks out there that can provide that information. But contact us. We'll try to put you in touch with the people who can help you the best. And if we don't have the answers for you, you better believe that we'll make sure that you land inside the right hands for the people who can help.
All right, folks, that's Mike Smikin out of our New York and New Jersey offices, Brian Williamson out of our Arizona office, and me, Jeff Graber, out of our Florida office. We'll all get through this. We will. Keep your head up. Keep working hard. We're here to help. Thank you all.